August the 1st, 2019. Guys, you're looking at disturbance number 1. It's north of Cuba and approaching Florida. This is the best development we've seen in the last few days, but that's what they have been telling us the entire time. You're going to go through the wind shear, then as it gets closer to Florida, it could become more conducive for development. Now, it's got some shear that's moving across the Gulf of Mexico, coming off the Yucatan in that area, and moving up across the Florida Panhandle. That shear will affect it and also control the steering of it. But it's got more development in it now than we've seen in the past few days as it was going through that wind shear. It's because it's getting in this warmer water. You've got, it's the feelers of the storm are sensing warm water, both to the north along the Gulf Stream and into the Gulf of Mexico itself. But again, they're predicting it to travel straight up the East Coast for the next couple of days. We're still seeing that very high rotation in the upper atmosphere. You don't see that a lot right there. Anyway, 10% chance of development. Here's the projected path. It is a little closer to Florida since this model came out. You can tell it in those satellite images. And its conditions could briefly become marginally conducive for the development over the weekend before the system merges with the front and accelerates northeast. That's what we're seeing. This one is a 70% chance of development. We're really going to have to keep our eye on it. It is getting a lot of dust in it now. We've been watching it, getting some wind shear, but it says environmental conditions could become more supportive by Saturday. A couple days away, and a tropical depression is likely to form over the weekend, several hundred miles east of the Lesser Antilles. We'll take a look at the radar on this thing. It is to the far left in this picture. The second area of concern has not been pointed out yet by the National Hurricane Center, but right here is the center of this, what was called disturbance number 2, right there. It is still rotating very good, and again, within 2 days, it's supposed to overcome these conditions, this wind shear and all, and it's got a lot of energy in it. They wouldn't give it a 70% chance if it didn't. And then trailing right behind it, another system is starting to get the cyclonic rotation, then another one's coming off the African coast. You can see both areas here to your far left bottom. This is the storm we've been watching. A new one is forming behind it, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Now for our friends in Hawaii. And you're looking at Hurricane Eric. It is now a Category 1, and it's expected sometimes today to become a tropical storm. It's getting in that cooler water as it moves south of the Big Island into the Pacific Ocean. Now, it's a lot wider than this. This map is very deceiving, guys. This is somewhere where the center is supposed to be. But as we look at radar, you'll see what I'm talking about. And remember, the northwest quadrant of a storm is the most powerful. But again, and let's switch over to Flossie just a moment. It's a tropical storm, expected to remain a tropical storm through this entire event as it comes in north of the track that Eric is on. So you're going to get a 1-2 punch. After Eric passes, here comes Flossie with a more direct path. Now, the only thing about this one, if it moves just a little more northeast, that will be good for Hawaii because that northeast quadrant of the storm will be above you. But again, look at Eric approaching the islands. That's why I'm saying that map of the center cone is deceptive. You've already got winds reaching out to the Big Island. You can see that now. These are just the outer bands. But this thing is moving northwest. And it looks like to me, you guys on the Big Island, and possibly all of the islands, because of that turn the storm's going to make, you're going to get a lot of wind and rain. Then you got Flossie behind it. There's another system behind Flossie that's trying to get organized also. But these things are a couple days apart as far as impact time. But Eric is upon you guys on the Big Island there, and pay very close attention to it. It looks like you're going to get the most dangerous side of the storm. But we're watching it, guys. This afternoon we'll update when the National Hurricane Center comes out with its the new tracking information. So you guys in the Hawaii and all the islands there, guys, be prepared for this. So make sure you got some backup power, some extra water and food. It's always a good thing to have. It's a heads up. Be safe.